We had a very lively debate in our session, talking about whether 21st century marketing is being locked into 20th century marketing theory. And we talked a lot about the difference between System 1 and System 2 thinking and how it's going to influence and in some cases revolutionise the way we think about planning our communications and building brands. So the three 3+1 learnings and actions that we wanted to share with you were as follows. We talked a lot about the difference between short-term testing and long-term learning and how easy it is to get into a cycle of shorter and ever shorter testing. And we wanted to really get better and explore further how we can find longer-term testing models that we can reliably apply in our own businesses and finding some proxies that we can actually use very reliably that help us to see in the short term what is going to have a longer term impact. So that was quite an important discussion. The second point was really about how almost obsessed we are, have got certainly latterly, about growth. Indeed, we talked about the IPA case studies are often in the main stories about growth and striving and almost fixating on growth. And actually, one of the people in one of the groups was from the finance team at a client, and she said actually one of the most powerful things you can talk to us about is the risk of inaction. So in essence, rather than chasing growth, actually perhaps we should focus a little bit more on failure and the cost of failure. And I think this was touched upon in one of the early talks about how important it is to quantify what failure looks like as well as what success is going to look like. So I think that was quite an important takeout for everybody in our team. And finally, there was an interesting point made at the end where we'd looked at the difference between old marketing theory and the new world. And I think one of the interesting points that was raised was whether the 20th century was really a marketing world obsessed with increasing consideration. And actually now with the learnings we have about how the brain works and how the System 1 system dominates decision making, actually the 21st century should be about us as an industry striving to ensure that people decrease consideration. So how do we make our brands as heuristically easy as possible for people to buy? And actually, it raises a very fundamental question about whether we're measuring entirely the wrong things. And finally, educate, educate, educate. This is a pet subject of mine, which is not just educating the C-suites, financial teams, other teams that aren't the marketeers, but educating the young people entering the industry. How do we influence people to make sure that they're actually applying the right models, the way the human mind works? And in essence, we said, yeah, the world's changing, but guess what? People are people, and in the end, we are still talking to human beings. So thank you.